Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast sharing how to create and grow income streams and manage, multiply, and protect your wealth in the new economy. Are you tired of trading your time for money? Do you desire freedom today instead of retirement in 10, 20, or 30 years? I'm MC Laubscher, and this is the Cashflow Ninja. Hello, Cashflow Ninjas. MC Laubscher here, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I have a great show for you today. In today's show, we're going to look at how to master the art and science of having it all. My guest in this episode is Garrett J. White. Garrett is the founder of the Wake Up Warrior movement, author of the best-selling book, Warrior Book, creator of the Warrior Week, and host of the top-rated podcasts, Warrior on Fire, Warrior Wealth, and Date Your Wife. What started as a desire to set himself free from the bondage of his own failing life after the banking crisis of 2008 soon transformed into the launch of a global movement in the late 2012. The Warrior movement is quickly changing the business world we have known for decades, using an unconventional method for living and producing as a modern man known as the Warrior's Way. Garrett is extremely intense and passionate about waking up the warrior that is inside all of us. His energy levels is enough to get anyone out of their daily state and get them to start breathing again and seeing endless possibilities and opportunities. He's also built an amazing business, and I've personally learned a lot by following and studying what he's doing, especially his marketing. I think there's so much we can learn today from Garrett, and I'm super excited to have him on the show and have you learn alongside me. If you're interested in joining our investors group, you could go to cashflowninja.com/investors group and fill out an application form and or email me at info@cashflowninja.com to start the discussion to see if you're a good fit for our group. And if you're in the Philadelphia, Bucks County, and Southern New Jersey area, we are hosting a live investors meetup event every month in Newtown, Pennsylvania. For more information on the monthly event and information on how to join us at our next event, you could go to cashflowninja.com/events. MC Laubscher here, the host of the Cashflow Ninja podcast and also the president and chief wealth and investment strategist of Producers Wealth, where we help our clients integrate cashflow banking, also known as infinite banking, with their business and investments. If you're interested in learning more about how we create strategies that integrate cashflow banking and investments to turbocharge them, you can access a video series at yourownbankingsystem.com. That's yourownbankingsystem.com. Joining me is Garrett J. White, the leader of the Wake Up Warrior movement. Garrett, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Hey, excited to be here with you. We can talk about some money.
That's right.
I don't normally have a conversation about money. It's usually a whole bunch of other shit, so I'm excited.
Absolutely. Now, you have an incredible story of transformation, which plays into a lot of different facets, which we'll cover of the warrior and the warrior way. Wrote the book, Be the Man, the Warrior Book, obviously, the leader of the movement. Can you share a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Enjoyed both of those. Can you share a little bit about your journey of transformation, some of the aha moments that you had, some of the realization that you had along the way that shaped the decisions that you made to where you are today?
100%. So I was sharing this with you before, MC, before we started the show today, which was how did I even get down the path of business, let alone the conversation of money, right? Though that was kind of the order, which was become a businessman and then hit the conversation of money. So I was a PE teacher and a football coach. I had no desires or accolades, any vision whatsoever for money. Money meant nothing to me. I had no money. I was raised with no money. I had new entrepreneurs. I had no clue that you could actually, I just didn't know. There was a world that existed where unicorns and leprechauns hang out. That was not a world I was raised in. We didn't have shit. I was raised on cornbread, powdered milk, nothing. Like my mom and dad just said, hey, work hard, play sports, get a college education through a scholarship. So that's what I did. I played college football here in the United States, Boise State University, spent a year there, spent a year in a couple different universities. My career was like, whatever. It wasn't that exciting. But then I ended up in a place of searching. I was a PE teacher. We were coaching football. And it was a Thursday right before we headed into our Friday homecoming game, which I loved coaching. And I remember standing there, hat was pulled low over my eyebrows. We did like my son, who's 19, calls it the dad hat. It's like the curved bill down. It's like your hat, MC. That's my son says that's the dad hat. Congratulations.
That's right.
You have the dad hat on. So I like wear my hat all low and like you got your headphones right there. That was like my microphone or my whistle. And I'm sitting there having these thoughts and conversations. Like literally I have like sunglasses on underneath my hat. It's all down dad hatted. And this question comes up which was, is this all you were born to do? Like legit, this was the question. Like, is this what you were born to do? I was coaching middle school PE and coaching at the high school, or teaching middle school PE and coaching at the high school. And I was like, shit, I was divorced. My son was with my ex-wife. And I'm like, I got to do something different. So actually inside of that, which we were talking about the color schemes and the interview, some of the interviews you've even done here on your show with Robert Kiyosaki and some of the guys that write books with him. His book, 19 years ago, changed my whole life. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, had no idea. I read then Cashflow Quadrant, of which at the same time, I have no idea what Cashflow Quadrant. I didn't understand any of that shit. I sit down with my accountant for the very first time and I look at him and he's showing me an income statement and a balance sheet. And I'm like, oh my God, I have a question for you. He's like, what is that? I said, do you know Robert T. Kiyosaki? He's like, no. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, how is this possible? Like, this guy is stealing content from Robert Kiyosaki. He has stolen income statements and balance sheets from Robert Kiyosaki. And then I came to find out, well, all that shit was actually around for, well, very, very, very long time. I just happened to learn it first from Robert Kiyosaki. So that's how I actually started down the path of even the opportunity to fuck it all up and lose money. Was I had to first figure out how to make money. So that was my entry point into the money game.
And then you also learned on your journey that besides the making of the money, there's also the portion of the keeping of the money, and then the multiplication of the money after that. How did that play into, and what were some of the painful lessons? Because that's one of the reasons why I connect with you. So many people have connected with you because there's pain that you went through before you got to where you are today.
So the first stage, I mean, when you're an idiot, the first stage is to be less of an idiot. And when you suck at making money, the first stage is to suck a little bit less today than you did. And if you become less of an idiot enough and you suck less enough, like this time wakes up and you're like, oh shit, I can actually make some money. Okay. So I started down that path and I started sucking less and I became less of an idiot. Every week I would go to the bookstore. I would get a tape by Robert Kiyosaki. I literally, that's why the purple and gold is like triggering me like crazy. And I love it. It's beautiful because I was in a good way, because I would literally go down. I'd listen to everything and anything he had. I listened to all of it. And then I moved on to other topics and other authors and other people in business. And I could not stop consuming. I was addicted to consuming content around the idea of wealth. And I started going to events and seminars, got into the mortgage industry, got into the banking industry, got into the real estate industry, got into the insurance industry, running this large company with 100+ people on our teams. And I literally have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I'm in my late 20s. I have no clue except for the fact that I'm very excited. And I was raping an industry like everybody else was at the time inside of the mortgage game. I didn't know. I mean, dude, I'm selling mortgages in the beginning. I don't even have a mortgage. I don't even know what a mortgage was. I thought I was going to be a bails bondsman. So we finally figured some shit out. I build the businesses up in heading into 2007. And everybody knows where this story goes from here. 2008 comes in. And everything implodes. I go from speaking on the stage in June of 2007 with Robert Kiyosaki, with Tony Robbins at the Mortgage Planner Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada, with a guy named Stephen Marshall, who's running that event, and a guy named Dave Savage, who owns the Mortgage Coach. And then literally 8 months later, fucking everything's gone. Like, from entouraging it in Vegas with my entire crew to everyone's let go, everything's shut down. And then I spend the next 3-4 months pretending that it's not all going away. The only source of revenue I have, because I took all my cash and tried to save my businesses. I had no clue, and I had come from nothing. So my tolerance to go to zero was very high. Very fucking high. Like, it's not anymore, but it was then. I mean, I was like, fuck it. We'll just roll it and go all in. Hit the bottom. Everybody's gone. And my world spirals into what became the foundation of the next rise as a business owner and as a businessman, and the building of the Wake Up Warrior movement and the 6 or 7 industries that we're involved in and financial services and things that we do in that place. But that all led. So it was like this light peak to making money the first time. I call it first pass entrepreneurism. The first pass businessman. Everybody's a hero their first path. They're like, hey, you did it. Most people never even get their first path to bigger money. You go get your first path, but you don't know shit. I didn't know shit. I wasn't a marketer. I didn't understand sequencing systems. I didn't know the true value of taxes and how to manage and deal with that. Like I had no idea. So when it came, I was emotionally weak and it imploded me. But I believe it imploded me in a big way. And that's how this book right here, Be the Man, was actually built. This book was written out of my pain from 2008, 9, 10, and to 11, which was a harsh reality that I had no idea who the fuck I was. I had no idea what the purpose of my life was. I didn't believe in the religion I was raised in. My marriage was a fucking disaster and only worked because I had money. I was headed to my second divorce, and the only answer I could seem to find was found at the bottom of a bottle of vodka, sitting in the basement. Not some fucking cliche like this was my reality. Every single fucking day, drink at night, all night until I wake up the next morning and then watch a ton of webinars and yet wander around and have no clue. And so my friend introduces me to ultra running. I'd done Ironman for a few years, competed in the World Championships in 2007, and then I get into ultra running. There was another book called Ultra Marathon Man that I read at the time, which inspired me to become a crazy dude to run really far. And so I started doing that. For 3 years, I ran every single day. I'm not talking like I went to the gym and I ran like 2 miles on a treadmill. I would run 10, 15, 20, and then I got up to 20, 25, 30 miles. I would go out on a regular run twice a day for 10 to 13 miles at a time. I was running a marathon every day. I got down to 172 pounds. Right now, I'm around 200 pounds. I'm down to 172 pounds. I look sick. I'm meditating all day, drinking all night, running half the fucking day, not making money, and no clue what I was going to do. My wife is like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. She's pregnant with our second child, and I decide the answer to my problems is that my wife is the issue, and so I start emotionally cheating, and then this leads to literally cheating on my wife. And I hit the darkest fucking place I have ever been in my entire life. Even at 43, coming on 43 this summer, I've never been in a darker place than I was for roughly 9 to 12 months at this time. And in that place, I recognize I have nothing. I have nothing. I have no brand. I have no client list. I have no money. I have no answers. And I only have the inclinations of the one-time build. But I was not a real entrepreneur. I was a guy on a first pass who had raped an industry that was trending. I didn't really understand how to build a business. It was recession-proof or economic-proof. I didn't understand cash flow necessity and building vaults with massive baggage of cash behind what I was doing and protection. None of this. And so I had no answers. And there was one answer, and it was on the cover of Be the Man, and it was right here, stop lying. And I'd never considered that was my biggest issue, MC, was that I was a fucking liar. And that's the place that I sat. And I stayed in that place for a number of years, just coming to recognize how much of a fucking liar I actually was. Lied about what I'd done, lied about where I'd been, lied about who I was, lied about what I wanted, lied about where I wanted to go, lied about what I was feeling. And most of the lies I said were not blatant lies of me telling people things. It was just me not saying anything. And I had gotten sucked up into a business world filled with liars too, because I was a liar. And so you can't see liars if you are a liar, because in the act of being a liar yourself, you end up creating distance from you and another person because you don't want to be exposed. And so you go to hype and Red Bull and motivation and manipulation and all this bullshit. And I was tired, man. I was just flat out tired. I was in my early 30s. This is going down. I'm like mid 30s. Let's see, I'm 30. So I'm 43 this year. So this would have happened. I would have been 30, 2019, we're in 2008. So yeah, I would have been roughly 31 years old, 32 years old. And I'd already lost my first empire. And here I was trying to figure out who I was. My wife's packing up, ready to leave me. She's figuring her stuff out in business and life because she's like, I got to get out of this relationship. This guy's a shithead. And he's got no answers for us. He's got no answer for himself. He's clueless. He's lost. And I'm disgusted by him. And truth was, I was disgusted by myself.
And that set the stage and the foundation for discovering and creating the warrior's way, reverse engineering, tying everything together, being the body, the being, the balance, the business. Can you share a little bit more about that?
So MC, I was like, the foundation was you're a liar. Like that, and like I'm not even talking to any of you listening right now. Like, if you're listening, it's like, understand you're a fucking liar too. But like I was looking at myself, and I realized my stories had become so masked up, I didn't even know how to answer this, except for truth seemed to be this sword that I could cut myself free from the cords I'd created in the bondage in my world. So I started looking at that and I was like, all right. I pulled out my journal and I was like, I'm sitting in my basement, and versus drink that night, I pour the bottle out like I had done like 50 times. I'm not drinking anymore. And I pour it out, and then the next day I go buy another bottle and be like, okay, all right, maybe today. And the next day, all right, I'm not drinking anymore. And finally I had a moment where I wasn't drinking that night, and I said, okay, I'm gonna figure this shit out. My only goal was to make money. I was like, my entire problem here is I'm not fucking producing. So people think I built the Warrior's Way and that the Wake Up Warrior movement was built because I had some spiritual calling to wake men up. No. Do not be confused. I was a liar who was looking for an answer to the following: how to not be a liar and how to start producing again and make money, because I could not get it figured out. So I sat down on my journal and I started looking at it, and I recognized some patterns. One thing I recognized right out of the gate: when I worked out, I felt more confident and I felt more certain. When my body was aligned and weaponized, my capacity as a producer seemed to go up. Second, when I felt like my life was on purpose, and the problem was I was raised in Mormonism, which was not a problem. I have no problem with Mormonism. I have zero issue with anyone who's in the Mormon church. If you're listening to this and you are in the Mormon faith, good for you. If you're trying to get me to be on your anti-Mormon bandwagon, fuck off. Like, I have no desire in that. I have zero issue. My parents are very active in the Mormon faith. Christians in what they do, and I love them for what they are. For 10 years, the past 10 years, though, I've searched for another answer. I knew at that time where I was at religiously did not fit with this thing that was going on in me. But to walk away from that was like walking away from the mafia. They may not kill you, but emotionally, my entire social network to both of my families in every direction was Mormon. And so I'm making a decision to walk away, not from a religion, but from an intertwined social network that I had only known, and that everywhere you turned in my world, in business and life, was filled with people who were also Mormon. And so I was in this place of like literally dying to this, but I knew I had to find this voice. I didn't want to know about God. I wanted to feel connected. Like truly, and I'm not saying you couldn't be connected being a Mormon. What I am saying is I couldn't be connected being a Mormon. And so I had to find out who was I. And when I got in this place where meditation and study, and I started caring about what God was saying to me, what the voice was saying to me and me, when I would write it down and realize there was a way for me to get custom guidance, revelation every single day from this divine power that did not come from another man because somebody said that guy has the power, so listen to him. And it didn't come from my parents because they're my parents, so they have the power of God in them, and I should listen to them. I got to this place where I recognized I have the ability to go directly to source and find answers to my chaos. So when my being, and I started to feel this rhythm, which eventually became the stack, which eventually became the most lethal weapon for dealing with your anger and rage and emotions and feelings that men inside the Wake Up Warrior movement, and now hundreds and hundreds of women inside the hair industry that we train use also. This was born at that time. So I see being. When I'm aligned in my being, this weird thing happens. If my body, work out, sweat, feel good, take a green smoothie on, fuel, being, my purpose and my connection, personal revelation, write it down. When those two are connected, this weird thing happens. Business solutions all of a sudden start to come quickly. Production becomes simple because you don't have a body that's messing with you, and you also don't have all this weird guilt and shame. There's this function that's going on inside of it where you're feeling connected, and because you're feeling connected, you have more power to create. The third piece I saw was marriage and relationships with my children. Now, my marriage was a nightmare, so I just started with the first two. I said, I'm going to invest in my body. I'm going to invest in my being. When I first launched Wake Up Warrior, it was actually body, being, business. There was no balance. You know why there was no balance? Because I had no fucking idea how to be a married guy. Like, I recognized I was a shitty husband. I didn't know how to be a great husband. I had to study how to be a great husband. And eventually it became balanced, which opened itself up into what we call reverse engineered production, which is if I have a problem in production, my problem in production most often than not is not a problem of production. It's a problem of power. It's not that you don't know what to do. It's that you just don't do that shit. You know this right now if you're listening. There's stuff right now in marketing you're not doing. Not because you don't know what to do. There are conversations with your teams that you're not having, not because you don't know what to say, because you lack the power and capacity to do it. There are moves that you need to be making to build wealth and cash flow in your life, but you're not doing them not because you don't know what to do. That is bullshit. Stop hopping to the next opportunity. It's not the next game that's going to fix it. It's not the next investment opportunity. Oh shit, crypto's now the big thing. Okay, great. Crypto is just like real estate was back in the day when I first had my first rise, and all the newbie entrepreneurs running in, some guys having success, some not, raping a trend, and then the trend starts to teeter out, and then you find out who the real players are and who actually belongs, and then all the posers get washed away and destroyed, just like happened in the real estate game, and they get to rebuild. But see, in this place, it's not a problem knowing what to do anymore. What do I do, Garrett? No, fuck you. It's not that you don't know what to do to get paid. You know what you need to do to get paid. The problem? You won't do it. I work with business owners right now, one-on-one. My one-on-one clientele base are men who are either running, building, or exiting companies over $500 million. Like, this is my one-on-one client base. This is who I deal with on the phone. And guess what we deal with on a daily basis? Guess how much business conversation we have, MC?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot, because guess where their biggest loss of revenue in these companies and with these individual CEOs, guess where it's from? Personal shit. Your body out of whack, your being out of whack, your balance, marriage, divorce, and chaos with top producers is the largest expense and the most insane cause of lowering ROI. You want to fuck up your cash flow and take your cash flow to zero? Have all of your major executives in your company and or you as a business owner be in complete chaos with a marriage that is teetering on divorce. That man does not walk into meetings with certainty. He walks in with a bravado, knowing that behind the scene, there is shit going on. Same guy tends to have drinking problems, pill problems, marijuana problems, or he goes the other way. He overeats, so he's obese. His body's falling apart. You're looking at him, you're like, bro, I'm trying to take you serious, but you're fat as fuck. Help me understand how you got a dad bod. Your wife's the one that had to push babies out of her vagina. You didn't have to push a pumpkin out of your penis. You have zero excuse to be a fat ass. What the fuck is wrong with you? And so I started looking in my world at where can I help men particularly reclaim power to produce and do the things that they already know they need to do. And it started with that topic and ultimately became the Warrior's Way, which was a game because it worked for me. I started putting my marriage back together. I started putting my purpose and being back together. I started putting my body back together. I started feeling connected in my relationship. I brought my son back into my life. My ex-wife and I started getting on the same page again. All of this worked through a game that I had built, which was a simple tracking game of every single day playing this Warrior's Way game of body, being, balance, and business inside of what we call the Gore 4, which is completely outlined inside the book Warrior Book. And both these books are available inside of a book bundle, which you can actually get for free. I'll ship them to you for $15. You can check those out at warriorbooks.com. But all of that then led to this new conversation, which we get to have now, which is a conversation of actual wealth and money. Because that's really the game that I play on the backside. All these tools are really just about helping people, men particularly, get to a place of power so they can actually produce wealth.
You're listening to the Cashflow Ninja, the show helping people all over the world create monthly cash flow and achieve freedom today, not in 10, 20, 30, and or 40 years. This is a show where cash is not king, but cash flow is king. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors. My friend Dave Zook says you can be conventional or you can be wealthy. Pick one. Dave and his team at The Real Asset Investor have syndicated many successful real estate and ATM projects over the last decade. Now his team has an exclusive opportunity for investors in the coal space. Do you want to be part of an energy project that takes conventional coal and cleans it up by extracting liquids while releasing almost zero emissions? The sale of these liquids can produce strong double-digit cash flow and aggressive tax benefits against ordinary income, all while using America's #1 most plentiful resource in a responsible, efficient manner. Now that's non-conventional. For more information on this exclusive opportunity, you can visit therealassetinvestor.com or contact the Real Asset Investor team at info@therealassetinvestor.com.
Are you having a hard time finding great investment properties? Unfortunately, the best deals are rarely found locally. Successful investing begins with the right properties in the right markets. Norada Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best deals across the United States. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly cash flow. Learn how to find the best deals by downloading your free copy of The Ultimate Guide to Passive Real Estate Investing at noradarealestate.com. That's NORADA realestate.com.
You're listening to the Cashflow Ninja, the show helping people all over the world create monthly cash flow and achieve freedom today, not in 10, 20, 30, and or 40 years. This is the show where cash is not king, but cash flow is king. Now let's return to our interview. And then the profit comes in, and then obviously the protection, that's part of Warrior Wealth. Can you speak just to the confidence and the certainty and the impact on production that just that protection has in your life? Because I think that a lot of folks get on there and they swing for the fences, but there's nothing backing them.
Yep. So I look at it this way. So Warrior Wealth is like our business and money conversations linked up to what we do in Warrior's Way. Warrior's Way is all about power. And so that kind of takes up the first quadrant inside of the Warrior Wealth conversation, which is like, okay, first thing I have to do is establish power, which is where core 4, stacking, and these tools come into play. Okay, once I have that, now I got to get into action, which in production, which means I've got to actually master my game of advertising, marketing, aka traffic, my organic games. I've got to get leads. Second, I've got to master conversion. How do I get those into a place where we consistently produce sales on a weekly, daily basis for the business? And then how do we fulfill? How do we fulfill on those with our technology, our systems, our sequences, our branding, our taxes, account, all that goes on to actually produce? But then we move into some other interesting conversations, which is actual profit. Like, how do I actually get, like, there's a difference between revenue and profit in a massive way. And there's a difference between business profits and personal profits as the king. So I started looking at this for myself as like, once you get power, you start to produce more. Once you produce more, the next focus becomes profit. Okay, well, just because I produce more doesn't mean I'm getting paid more. Just because I produce more. I really was just having this conversation this morning with one of my executives. Like, we made some major hiring moves. I'm like, listen, if we're not careful with the way we communicate and the way we deal with our teams, we're going to make less money with more people and be less profitable if we're not careful. We'll actually do the opposite with growth, which is we get bigger, but then we run into a problem because we don't actually focus on the profits. Now, once profits are in play, now comes the final stage, which is like, I actually have to protect all three of those. Like protection, right? You look at marriage, for example. People tell me, I can't afford a babysitter, or we don't go on date nights, my wife and I. And, she knows I love her. And I'm like, no. You don't go on date nights just so that you feel connected. You go on date nights so you protect yourself from the cause of divorce. So people are like, I don't want to invest in protection. Investing in protection. Like, I'll give you an example. We run these events called Warrior Week. Warrior Week is a very intense, very physical, very emotional, very fucking intense program. We're running Warrior Week 54 next week. I have 24 guys per class. We're sold out through the first half of the 2019. We sold out every event we've ever done. Businessmen only about to this event. 5-day crucible, 30 days of precedes it. That event, I pay anywhere between $4,000 to $6,000 a month in insurance. Just to insure the event. That's just premiums on a monthly basis just to insure Warrior Week. And people are like, what? Then on top of that, I have another 3 levels plus another level that continues past that in insurance protection. 9 levels of protection for men that come to Warrior Week to do 2 things. Protect the men, protect me and the businesses. That's it. So people are, well, why would you do that? It's a waste of money to pay for insurance. No, it's not. When you begin to invest in a game of protection, you buy space in your mind to produce at a higher level. When I go on date nights with my wife, I don't stress out about how much I'm spending because I know how much a divorce costs. So I'm actually making money by going out with my wife. Oh, I don't want to buy my wife that purse. That is bullshit. Or you could get divorced and lose 75% of what you built. That's probably cheaper. Or you could just buy the goddamn purse. Well, I don't want to redo the kitchen. Or you could double down and invest in your wife, not just because you love her. Look at it just from a business place for a second. People say happy wife, happy life. Well, guess what? When your family knows that you care, you are protecting your ability to produce. Why do you work out? Because you're protecting your ability to have the energy to produce every day. Well, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to hire a trainer. Listen, Fatty McGee, you need to hire a goddamn trainer. You want to know why? Because you're not accountable to yourself. Well, I don't see how this affects my production. I'll just do my thing. No, Fatty McGee, you're going to get diabetes, heart attack, and fucking die. So don't pretend you're going to show up and compete with me in business when this morning I walked 4 miles in a walk and talk with my executive. I did a 45-minute surf burpee workout with underwater breath holding training underneath in a swimming pool for another 30 minutes. Then I meditated. Then I drank my green smoothie. Then I sent my love deposits to my kids. Then I handled my shit in business with new study and new deposits. And then I took all of that, did a stack that dealt with the communication issue we're having in the business, went to an ultrasound appointment with my wife, and then I walk into a meeting. You're going to roll in with your fat ass and your coffee? Fuck you. I will eat you all goddamn day long. I will look at you. You will fall the fuck over. So people say, well, how do I deal with my cash flow issues? It's simple. Start protecting everything around the cash flow. Start protecting the things that no one's told you to protect. Your body. You get sick, you get tired, you go downhill. I'm not a fitness trainer. I'm not here trying to get you to buy some like ketone diet. I don't give a shit what you do. I'm telling you right now, you better give a shit about your body or you're going to fall apart. Protection. You better give a shit about your being and purpose and feeling connected and in control with you. Mastery of you and connection to some higher purpose to behind what you do in production, or you're going to fuck it up. Again, protection. Third, you better protect what's going on with you in your relationships, your wife, your children. You better take care of those relationships because guilt and shame will destroy your game. And guilt and shame are the emotions that destroy producers who don't take care of their family. So I don't have time to be home at 6 o'clock. I don't have time to go to soccer on Saturday. Fuck you. You do have time. You just don't see the purpose behind it. Working 7 days a week does not get it done. That does not protect what you have produced. And it also does not accelerate what you produced. And then business. You have to protect your teams. You have to protect them from themselves. And you got to protect them from their personal lives. Because guess what? Their personal lives cost you more money than anything you've ever considered. You're like, well, I don't have time to walk with my team members and talk to them. I don't have time for quarterly reviews. Fuck that. We do daily and weekly reviews. We meet, walk, talk, work out with, train, discuss, and work with my stylists, my salons, our teams here inside the consulting firm, our financial agents, and our advisors. Like all of this, we do all of this. Why? Because I have to protect my people from themselves, protect them from the marketplace, and also protect them from what? I'm not trying to save them. My business is protected because I know where my people are. I know what they're thinking. I know how they're feeling. I know when they're stressed out. I know when they need time off. I know when they need a change up. I know when they just need somebody to talk to. But these were all things, MC, I was clueless. My first round of business, clueless. Not only was I a liar, but I was not weaponized in power. I had no predictable system to do this. I had no science to follow. I had no one guiding me. I thought I had guidance. I did. One-dimensional guidance. It was called business guidance. That was it.
Yeah. It's all tied together. I love how you bring it all together because we talk about a lot of principles and values and family and how all these things fit in. So I love it how you put that together too. And the importance of protecting all of that. Protecting your mindset, protecting your family, protecting your business, protecting the employees, because the kingdom falls from within, as you spoke about. And all you have to do is pick up a history book to see it. Principles and values is a big thing we talk about on the show, and you've listed a number of them because it isn't just about money. In the end, as you said, that the intangibles is the most important thing. The money we can produce. If we invest in ourselves, we're healthy, we're aligned with our being, our production increases, we're empowered. That's not going to be a problem in the future. Obviously, we want to protect that. But if we cannot pass on any money to future generations, but we're allowed to pass on 3 principles to them to build wealth and achieve success, what would you pass on?
First one is tell the truth, and the facts will set you free. I said, like, this is the thing I work on with my kids, and I work on with my teams in a society and in a marketplace of liars. The truth becomes a weapon. There was a time where people were their word, not anymore. People can't even post normal pictures on Facebook or social media anymore. They have to filter 97 times and take 47 pictures of a candid fucking shot with the goddamn coffee. Like, people are bullshitting everywhere, which means the first thing I'm telling my children, and the first principle to wealth is own the facts. Tell the truth. The facts will set you free. The facts, not the truth. The facts will set you free. This then feeds into the next piece. And the next piece is your feelings are your fire. Your feelings are your fire, right? All of us are being led every single day by our feelings and our emotions. All right, we make logical decisions, but most of the decisions we make daily come down to the feelings that we have, but most have not been trained how to deal with our feelings. We don't know how to do that. So what's the practical game of telling the truth? What's the practical game of dealing with my feelings? Well, that tool was created inside the Warriors Way called the Stack, which was a series of questions we ask ourselves every single day. We answer through bots and chat that answer and speak to what's going on for me today. So instead of having these feelings of rage and anger, frustration, blame, guilt, shame, instead of having these feelings inside of me, I take these feelings outside of me and I process the truth. I process the facts. What are the facts about what I'm feeling right now? Why am I so pissed off? Why am I so excited? Why am I so angry? Why am I so sad? Why do I feel so much shame? Drove my daughter to school like 3 days ago or last week. As we know, 3 days ago on Monday, huge fight on the way to school. I said things a father should never say. Never say to her daughter. Never say to his daughter, ever. She's 11. Like, I was freaking the fuck out. And there's no excuse for it. And I was bathed in this blanket of guilt and shame over doing it. But I know where I'm at, which is like, okay, these feelings are trying to teach me something. There's something I need to adjust in the way I operate as a father. There's something I need to adjust in the way I deal with life based upon this experience. It didn't happen by chance. In the past, I would feel guilt and shame, and then I would drink to make it go away. Or I'd feel guilt and shame, or I'd work out to go away. Or I'd feel guilt and shame, and I'd distance myself from a person. Or I'd feel anger and blame and think that all those feelings were the truth, but they're not the truth. They're simply what I'm feeling. And those feelings are masking the facts. But the facts are where I can actually make a new future. The facts are where the fire is found. This is where the desire to build and know and understand myself. That experience with my daughter put into a stack allowed me to create a totally new paradigm for the way I deal with fathering. Now, given it's only been 3 days at the time I'm recording this with a new system, and it's a radical, I don't even recognize her. I don't even recognize myself in relationship with my daughters because of just the plan and the strategy and the coach that I hired who's helping me deal with this to work through it a certain way and a different way as a father with young daughters. It's a totally new game for me. So principle one, again, the facts will set you free. Principle two is your feelings are your fire. Third piece inside of this is your focus. Your focus is your friend. Like, whatever your focus is becomes your friend. Your results are driven by your focus. And your focus is a function of your feelings, and your feelings are hiding the facts. And so everything I'm dealing with is driven. The way I see is driven by emotion. It's driven by feelings. People say I'm logical. Bullshit. We're not logical. We're predictably irrational human beings. Our behaviors for buying, why we do what we do, absolutely not logical. It might be logical. You may put yourself in a logical frame around it. But our focus is driven by our feelings. Well, when you can start to gain an understanding of your feelings, you can link that back to the facts, and the facts can be more clearly focused to actually produce more facts about what you truly want, which leads us to the last principle, which is by their fruit you shall know them. So people can talk all day long, blah, 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 blah. So many people who yelled at me when I left the religion I was raised in. You can't do this. You're ruining our family. You're ruining the eternal connection of family. You're destroying all this stuff. Now, the crazy part was I was watching all this. I'm like, so let me get this straight. Like, your marriages don't work. Your divorce rate is no different than the divorce rate that I'm seeing outside. You're overweight and not happy. You're constantly plagued with guilt and shame. And you're trying to tell me that this works. Now, if it works for you, great, but that does not work for me. By their fruit you shall know them. This is a quote straight out of the Christian scripture. By their fruit you shall know them. Okay, well, what does this mean? Your focus delivers your fruit. The end. Like your fruit is what it is. You can't argue with your fruit. Like the fruit, the facts of your fruit are the facts of your fruit. There is no argument. There's no debate about what your fruit is. You stand on the scale. You don't get to have an argument with the scale. You stand butt-ass naked in front of the mirror. You don't get to have an argument with the mirror. Fuck you, mirror. How dare you twist what I'm seeing right now? No, asshole. That's what you look like. You can't pull up your cell phone, click on your banking app, look at the amount of money there and be like, oh, fuck you, Chase Bank. Fuck you for not having the kind of money in there that I want. The app doesn't give a shit any more than your scale gives a shit. Like, that's why I like them, because the fruit is what it is. And you want to know people, don't listen to what they're saying. Look at their fruit. Like, you want to take advice on fitness, go take it from people who are fit. You want to take advice from people about being and spirituality, go mentor and look with people who demonstrate that kind of being that you want. You want to be in a situation with a marriage that works, great. You probably should take counsel from a guy who's married. I love people trying to teach a habit or lifestyle, spinning off and stealing what we do here at Warrior. And I'm like, you're a single who's not married. What the do you know about trying to teach a man who's married 15 years how to be married? I appreciate your passion. I like your drive. Well done, but you kind of miss one. It's like trying to teach a man how to use his penis, but you don't have a penis. You have a vagina. Well, a woman with a vagina cannot teach a man with a penis how to deal with a penis. A penis is a penis. If you don't wake up with a penis, you don't really understand what it is to have a penis. No different than I do sitting there in the ultrasound today, watching my wife get probed and do the thing with the doctor. And I'm like, man, there's like a baby in there. That's like crazy shit. Well, I have nothing to say right now, but just sit here and be completely mesmerized by the fact that in a few months, a baby is going to come out of your vagina. I mean, what if I was sitting here about 6 months from now and a small pumpkin is coming out of my penis? I mean, I don't know how I'd feel about this. I'm like, I don't even know. So you have this game. You want to learn from people on how to make money. You want to be around people who are in the conversation of cash flow. You want to be in the conversation with producers who are about power and about production and about profits and about protection. Well, you got to be around people where that's the conversation. I didn't care about protection. I didn't care about profits, which is ironic until I started associating with people who did. Right. Where it was cool how much money you saved.
Exactly. And that's a lot of what we talk about here is to actually take advice from people that are doing what you want to do and have already accomplished success, and they're successful in that space. Garrett, one of the things that I've seen with successful and wealthy people is that they're always studying new things and learning. What are you currently studying? What are you learning? What is some of your focus this year?
So this year, so in the personal world, this year, my commitment in 2019 is to become an elite father. So I'm actually listening to a book right now, an audiobook. I'm going to share it with you because it's great. And the audiobook is like changing my world like shortly. So that's one of my commitment focuses is like I study constantly where I find myself in a weak place. Like I study and constantly am just on it. The book is Scream-Free Parenting.
Scream-Free
Parenting by a guy named Hal Runkel. Here he is.
Into our core beliefs, into our very bones. It will do nothing to frustrate us. It's only when we say it.
Well, that's me listening to it 2x speed because I listen. Then I think everybody talks slow. So then I meet people in person. I'm like,
I love these.
So that's my parenting. That's my parenting game. My focus for business in 2019 is two things. One, which is memberships, which is mastering the membership model. There's a book that I'm studying right now, and I actually hired the author yesterday. And I'm now working with her. I didn't know it was her. Her name's Robbie Baxter, and she wrote a book called The Membership Economy. Find your super users, master the forever transaction, and build recurring revenue. So we have scaled Warrior from a very large ticket organization where it was very higher ticket to get in, 10,000 up to 250,000 a play, and it was at a particular targeted market. And now we have between 2,000 and 3,000 bundles of this book right here, Be the Man and Warrior book, that are going out every single week to men all over the world. And so we have a membership behind that, which is our Warrior Brotherhood membership. And we just want to be better at membership, delivering what we do in our live experiences and live events, being able to deliver that in a very high-end way without it being overwhelming and being able to really guide a man along that path, because we've seen the results from my podcast, Warrior on Fire, and the stuff we've done virtual. So that's my second focus, which is mastering memberships, which is how to deliver the elite experience we do in Warrior, but how to do it in a way in memberships. We've been doing it for 2 years, but I feel like we can be a whole lot better at it than what we are doing. So that's what I've done. I just hired the woman, the author, yesterday, 50 grand as a consultant to come and work with us. So we're excited to have her part of that. So that's a piece inside of memberships. And then the third piece is we've brought more structure and order to our business, which is I couldn't see the foundational purpose behind. I did, but I didn't. Not an organizational chart, but there was a guy named Gino Wickman who wrote a book called Traction and built a system called the EOS system. I thought it was bullshit. I'm part of Strategic Coach with Dan Sullivan. Love Strategic Coach. Completely altered my world. The reason I have 2 of my executives right now is because of one meeting with like 10 minutes of listening to Dan Sullivan go off on some shit and draw on his little board. And I was sitting there in Chicago. I'm like, holy shit. And then I actually didn't go back to Strategic Coach all of 2018 because I was so busy just trying to do the shit I got from the very first meeting that year. So I'm working with, we're working with EOS. We have a consultant, his name's Dan. And so we've been working on really the foundational structure to taking our company to 50 million. We've made the game of breaking 20 million. Like that game we figured out, but to get to where we want to go 50 million and ultimately to be where our real target is to be $100 million organization in the next 3 to 3.5 years at our target January 1st, 2022. We knew there was some structural shit that had to happen across all the Warrior companies. And so we went back to the basics and it's been very painful, very painful. It's not fun. It's not fun. Like we go to the meetings. It's joyful in the way that like it's not fun to get punched in the face, but it's fun to spar with your friends. So I don't really know how that works. Like we beat the shit out of each other and it hurts, but it's fun. So it's like this weird hurt fun kind of thing, which I imagine like is my wife's experience with giving babies and pushing out the vagina. So that's the third piece then is that we have EOS we've been working with, entrepreneur, the entrepreneur operating system. Wonderful system. I cannot speak more highly about it. It took a little while for us to get into it. You know, I think we're like 6-10 grand every time our consultant comes in. And he comes in about every 3-4 weeks. Loving that though. The book's Traction, the VI relationship between visionary and integrator. Love the whole concept. We're killing it with that. And then I got a third one for you, which is a guy named Sam Ovens. Who, interesting enough, I just joined his group. I'm part of his mastermind in 2019. I'm excited. We actually go up there in a couple of weeks up to Santa Monica, I believe, just up north of where I live in Orange County. And I'm excited to spend some time with him. And people are like, why would you work with Sam? And blah, blah, blah. He's so boring, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, because the motherfucker has figured some shit out I have not figured out. And one of the big distinctions I got just in the initial stage of working with Sam was I had created a story in Warrior that was, for someone to take the curriculum of Warrior and then to create results, there had to be a coach in the middle. And Sam has altered my thinking with this, and we have proven it. And so we rolled out new online universities that we built inside with my own programming teams. And so I'm super excited about our new coursework systems and the way we're running Q&A calls versus the way that we were doing things. So those are 3 big focuses for us this year, which is our coursework curriculum online, mastering our membership game and being able to deliver maximum value for really prices that are doable for thousands and thousands. We have thousands of individuals in those programs right now, but we'd love to take that to tens of thousands and really be able to bring the message of Warrior. It's why the bundled game of Be the Man right here and Warrior Book, which you can find out more about that bundle at warriorbook.com. You know, this right here, these 2 books, the goal is to get the message out and then to support men who are not ready for the big show with us and give them that opportunity to get results. It could be because they live in a different country or maybe they don't fit the requirements to come to Warrior Week right now. But it's really a preparatory experience. So 4 things going on. 1, I'm going to be an elite father in 2019. Screen-free parenting is my foundational map. 2, we're mastering the game of memberships with the Membership Economy book, and we hired Bobby Baxter as a consultant to work with. 3, EOS and the Entrepreneur Operating System, Traction, Gino Wickman. I've never even had a conversation with him. I have no idea who he is personally. I just know that his curriculum really spoke to me. And he and I are him and his consultant team are working with us, and we're loving that experience. So EOS, Dan Sullivan is Strategic Coach, which I go out to Strategic Coach too every quarter. Love that. Super excited to go there this year. So that's kind of all the package. And then our last piece is Sam Ovens and the consulting.com experience. And we're working a lot with him on the membership side of things. So I share all this with you very openly. A lot of people wouldn't share this kind of shit with you. Here's the deal. I am not an idiot. I'm very fucking good at what I do. And I'm untouchable at a couple of things. I don't care who you are. I'll go toe to toe with you inside of my wheelhouse. I'll fuck you up all day long. Now, take me outside of that wheelhouse. Very quickly, we might be able to compete on some things and I'll give you a run for your money, but you probably still win. And then you take me to some other areas and you will fuck me up. So I fully get it that in my world, we've got some areas that we're moving into. It's like going from being a Bentley, Lamborghini, dealership selling only Ferraris, Bentleys, and Lamborghinis, which is what Warrior had been for years and years, 6-7 years. And now we're still trying to deliver the Bentley experience and the Lamborghini experience, but do it in a small package. It's like getting the real car shrunk down into a Hot Wheels car and saying, hey, here's the car. We still want the car to be amazing. We still want you to have an amazing journey. We want men to get massive results, which we have been getting, but I want to be able to deliver it at the same level of power and consistency with what we've perfected in our other models. And in order to pull that off and take the company where we need to go, we need other help and mentoring. And that's why people tune into this show with UMC, because they're looking for guidance. They're looking for guidance from you. They're looking for guidance from how you speak and operate, and also the guests that you bring here on this show. So I know how hard it is to run a show and stuff like this. So I appreciate the efforts that you're putting in to make this happen.
I appreciate you coming on and love the energy as always. I'm fired up right now, ready to go at what is it? Just a little after 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I feel like it's 10 a.m. in the morning right now. Again, starting over. WarriorBook.com. Garrett J. White. Garrett, anywhere else my listeners can follow you, stay in touch with all of the projects that you're involved with.
So we have there's our Warrior Week experience too. You can find out more at warriorweek.com. That's more of our high-end business owners or more established business owners. That's our experiential processes. There's a mastermind of men called the Empire Group of Warrior, but there's like to get into that group, which we have hundreds of men in that group. To get in that group, you actually have to graduate from Warrior Week, graduate from the Kingdom Challenge, graduate from Return of the King, and then you can apply to be part of that. So warriorweek.com, worst case scenario, you get to watch an amazing movie. There we have a documentary there that really inspires. And then online, my wife and I run a podcast. It may give you some value too. And you get to hear the other side of the conversation. 2018, we launched a podcast called Date Your Wife. And my wife is a fiery woman. She's amazing. And her and I get to have conversations every single week on that podcast. So you can check that out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, the Date Your Wife podcast. So that's a freebie there. Give you a lot of value. It's amazing. And besides those other two, man, that's it.
Appreciate you, Garrett. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your journey and your knowledge and providing so much value for my listeners, my friend.
You got it, MC. Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Life settlement investments have allowed financial and banking institutions to not only buy their equity contractually, but also diversify their capital from any economic, market, and geopolitical risk. It's been part of the billion-dollar blueprint followed by institutional investors. And if you're an accredited investor, you can also now participate in this vehicle with enormous growth potential. You can watch an informational webinar presented by one of the premier organizations providing life settlement investments, Penumbra Solutions, at cashflowninja.com/life settlements. Thank you again for joining me on the Cashflow Ninja. If you like what you hear and appreciate what we're trying to build here, please subscribe, rate, and write a review for our show on iTunes and share our show with family, friends, and your network. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter at cashflowninja.com. I want to thank you for spending your most precious resource with me today, your time. Until next time, my friend, live a life of passion and purpose on your terms. presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objectives, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.